why now? Why have you chosen? Well, not sort of now, but why that? I know you said your mum said, right, this is the day.
Yeah.
What prompted you to start writing? Sort of later on in your life, without trying to make you sound.
I'm
really...
38.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get over that one. I know you're all thinking, what? She doesn't look 38. I read Harry Potter, the very first one, and at the time I was a single mum with my daughter, and I was on my own, and I was financially up to my neck, and it was a really difficult time. And then I found out about J.K. Rowling, and I thought, wow, actually, you don't have to be. You don't have to have a master's degree in English literature to be able to write a book. This woman has just written a book. Obviously no disrespect to her because she's a very intelligent person. But I thought, I can do that. I can write a book. And I wrote a couple of storylines, and there was one particular one about a girl with a tattoo. Because I'd grown up with Spider-Man, Batman, the Hulk, Star Wars, all things I absolutely love with a passion, but there were no women. We got Wonder Woman with a see-through plane and a lasso of truth. It wasn't quite rocking it for me. I wanted a girl to go out there and really be the main character. And still now, so many characters, like the main character's a boy and they've got a backup girl. And I just didn't want that. I wanted a British female superhero that we could all go, wow, she's the one taking the beatings, really, on a regular basis. And so I had that idea, and I sort of I write it down in notes, and I put it away in a drawer. And 5 years later, shows how often I tidy up, I found the notes, and it was like a light bulb moment. And within 3 weeks, I'd written the whole of the 13th by hand, and notes for the next 5 books. And I knew there would be 5 more books straight away.
So in your
I think I've been thinking about it for 5 years. I think subconsciously I've just been thinking about it, mulling it over.
Was it 3 weeks? That's quite a short space of time.
Oh, it was incredible.
Was
it
like sort of?
It was like an information download. Yeah, it was just like this massive, great amount of information just flooded out, and I just wrote and wrote and wrote. I showed the folder to the kids when I go into schools, and it's just pages and pages and pages of handwriting, and it just had to all come out.
And then, so once you've handwritten it all, you then kind of put it all onto?
Yeah, what I do is I work. Now I have a process, and I work from a single page. So I write down at the beginning of this book, it's going to start at this, and at the end it's going to finish there. And in between I've got to do this, this, and this, and this. And then I break it down into chapters, into sections, and then I do a paragraph for each chapter, and then I work on that, and then I build it until it's about a page for each chapter. Then I go to the computer and start writing, because then they start talking to me. So I can't carry on like that.
Start talking to you.
Yeah.
Your characters.
The voices in my head. Yeah, because it's like a movie playing in my head, and it's just here. It's always just here. And when I start writing, they're all acting out the parts, and I just write it down. It's not even complicated. Which is a bit annoying, I suppose, to people that spend years trying to form their art of writing, in conversation and dialogue, and I just.
Yeah, but it's obviously you've got a talent there that you never knew.
A latent, isn't it? Latent talent, yeah.
I know, I'm talking to some of the children at school.
Yeah.
They'd said to me it was before the snow, so a couple of weeks ago, that you'd spoken to them about one of your favourite songs at the minute being Firework.
Yeah.
By Katy Perry, and I think you put on the fan site that one of your favourite lines was you just got to ignite the light or something.
Yeah, and let it shine. Yeah.
So is that that's almost sort of what you did in a
yeah,
sort of
exactly.
funny way.
I think you have to. I think that sometimes you have to have no fear. You can't live with doubt and fear. The only thing doubt and fear will do is stop you. You have to say, do you know what? Warts and all, you're going to take my story, and if you don't like it, then I've tried. But if I don't try, I could carry on the rest of my life saying, I wish I'd tried. Try is the biggest word that people don't do. You either can or you can't. It's a bit of a Yoda, isn't it? Do or do not. There is no try. And so, yeah, to me, empowering songs help me write. And I also feel that a lot of children need encouragement, because if it goes wrong, what's the worst that could happen? If you write a story and everybody laughs at you, so
to try.
Yeah, you did it, but you didn't. You actually did it, and then you can go to someone and say, "Can you help me? Can you make it a little bit better, or should I change this?" You just got to take a risk.
And you're talking about empowering songs there. I know you've got
Linkin
songs
Park. I like Linkin Park.
Linkin Park.
It's really weird.
Shot. to yourself. I
It
think,
is. It is a
wasn't
bit of a shock. Yeah.
But there's also other songs that you've kind of said have summed up.
Oh, Evanescence.
Sort of.
I can't listen to.
13th
For me, my Immortal by Evanescence is the final track for the final sort of section of the 13th. And if I'm walking and I'm listening to it, I just start crying. Because I can see the whole thing playing out in my head. It's so perfect.
But they're quite emotional books, both of the first two novels. They're quite emotional.
In what way, Kerry?
Just in the connections that the characters have with each other, and you find yourself really as if you're there.
Yeah.
You kind of you feel like you're delving into their lives, and you're kind of seeing a real person.
Yeah.
So they are quite emotional, and the relationships that are formed in both books, they're almost they're real, aren't they?
Yeah, they are real people.
Yeah.
In my mind, they are real people. And like there's this particular scene that I wrote in the 13th before the end of the book, and I sobbed and sobbed, and I couldn't start writing it, and I kept crying, and I couldn't start. And then when I was writing it, it was like, you know, when you just like the snot was pouring down my face, and I was trying not to, and it took me ages to actually write it because it meant so much to me, and it was, and when you write, you draw from your own experiences. And at the time, my nan was very ill with Alzheimer's, and it was just so hard because I could relate to that situation. I could relate to that moment. I knew how it felt so much that it just broke my heart. Yeah, it was very difficult.
As a self-published writer, you've obviously taken a lot of your own time to go out and promote yourselves, like we talked about in Waterstones and schools and stuff. Have you got an agent? Are you, how's that working?
I do. It took me nearly a year. But I have this lovely, lovely lady in London who's doing all the big stuff that I can't possibly do. You know, when you're not published and when you're self-published, it makes no difference. Most publishing houses won't even let you through the door. They won't look at you. They won't look at your manuscript. It has to come through an agent because they don't have the time or resources to be ploughing through manuscripts. So they trust agents to come in with good work and work that's worth publishing. So that's what's happened now. I've got this lady in London who's very, very nice, and she's doing all those sort of things with the publishing houses and film rights and stuff like that.
So we could be talking sort of in another year's time. Maybe you'll be.
I better be
published.
You know,
talking about turning the 13th into a film.
Yes. Oh, you've preempted everything. Yes, yeah. I mean, that would be, you know, my dream. The thing is, the problem is everybody expects everything to happen overnight, and it doesn't. It takes time. You know, even if you send a manuscript off to a publisher, it could take 6 months for them to get back to you. So it's patience now. It's out there. It's being moved around in the big publishing houses. I just have to be patient and keep the momentum up and keep writing book 3. You know, there's no break.
Come to those who wait. And so finally, I just want to ask you. You know, when you obviously become a multi-millionaire.
Yes, Kerry.
And you remember all your friends.
Yes, meet you and Joel and Mikey on the beach in Barbados.
Now, what's the one thing that you would indulge for yourself, for your family, you know, for Jason, for your daughter? What's the one thing that you would do when you can sit there and think, do you know what?
I would take them on holiday. Yeah. Once I get some money, I would take them on holiday. Definitely. There's nothing else on my list. You know, they've missed out on holidays for years now because of me and my addiction. And my expensive habits. They've missed out on so much to support me, and that would be the first thing that I would do. I'd be like, right, Mickey Mouse, here we come. No option, obviously. They're not allowed to choose whether they want to go on holiday. We are going to Disneyland. But yeah, that would be the first thing I would do. And there are a list of people that help me that I have, right? She's having, you know, a holiday. She's having this. Because you come from a place where you have nothing, and you have to appreciate just people being genuinely kind and supporting you, and that's all you have, you know. And if you can be nice enough back, then it works. You've just got to be a good person, really.